Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with the winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Friday edition, TGIF, of Today in Sports Betting. Taking a look at the major leagues, man. I'm doing it with my buddy Scott Reichel. Scott, everybody on deck tonight. We got a full slate. We even got a double header. Man, if you're not getting enough of the Royals these days, we got two for you. So, good times.
You want to talk about it?
Do I want to talk about the Royals? I do not.
Okay. Well, we can move on.
I'm still in shock, man. Remember 2 weeks ago when we were the best team in baseball?
It all happened so fast.
That was fun. Like they came out of nowhere. I never saw the guy. So let's get rolling here, Scott. Two pretty fair teams right here going at it up down there in Florida as the New York Mets square off against the Tampa Bay Rays. David Peterson squaring off against Glasnow. And as you might suspect, Scott, Tampa Bay is the favorite in this one. Minus 157 is your total. Any reason to back Peterson here? I've tried to fade this kid as often as possible. He's been all right. The team's 3-3 in his start, so not dreadful. Meanwhile, the Rays are 5-3 in Glasnow's starts. So Glasnow having a very good season, 2.37 ERA, 0.89 whip. And Peterson, not so much, 5.5, 1.34. So, Scott, I know the Mets been playing some better baseball, but I think they might have met their match here. I know they've won 6 straight. Rays,
actually 7 straight.
Oh, that's right. They won tonight, right?
I think the day off today, but they beat Harvey yesterday.
I've got them at 6 wins, buddy.
I see 7.
Well, then they must have played today.
It's possible. I could have sworn I thought Harvey pitched yesterday, but yeah, they didn't play today. They won yesterday. They won 7 in a row.
Again, I'm going to have to dispute that.
I'm staring right at it.
You're staring right at what?
ESPN says right next to their name W7. I'm looking at.
Well, I'm looking at their schedule for the last 10 games.
Beat the Cardinals twice, Diamondbacks 3 times, Orioles twice.
They beat the Cardinals twice, but there was a loss in between there, Scott.
That I don't see. I see that they lost the Cardinals in the first game and they won the 2 after.
Nope, they lost to the. I'll say okay. They've got the double. It was a doubleheader, so they've got it put backwards. Okay, I get it now.
Okay. Either way, they've been playing well.
They got it in order that the game was replayed. So yeah, 7 in a row is what they won. They haven't been doing it with offense though. They've been doing it with good pitching. Even they've even been able to get by Peterson, Scott. Even though he's
not good.
They gave up 4 runs in that game, but he was still able to somehow Mets were able to rally and win that game against Arizona. So pretty hefty price on Tampa Bay, but I just don't have the faith in Peterson. He went just 3 innings there against. He went just 1 2/3 against Arizona the last time out. Gave up 3 earned, 3 walks, 3 hits. Not good. Threw a ton of pitches. He was good as a couple starts before that. So Scott, which David Peterson are we going to get?
I'm assuming the not good one because that's kind of his career, but. Looking at Glasnow, he's laying about 157, as we said before. Totals at 7. I'm tempted by the under, but I can't do it with Peterson because he can just blow up.
Right.
It's Tampa or pass for me. I know that the Mets have won 7 in a row, but I can't get past the fact this offense still isn't very good. And Glasnow at home, the Mets might not even score a run with him in the game. So I got to go with Tampa.
Yeah, Glasnow. Scott, here's my problem with Glasnow. You got off to a great start.
He hasn't been great over the last couple of appearances.
He hasn't been great. He struggled against Toronto, and then he had a great start against Oakland where he went 7 shutout innings. But he's given up 6 earned over his last 11 and 2/3 in his last 2 starts against Oakland and the Angels. Again, not horrible, but not untouchable. What's the number here? 7.5 or 7?
It's 7. FanDuel is 6.5, but he does have a 2.18 ERA at home. So he has been a better pitcher at home than on the road. I just think the Mets are going to struggle here. But Tampa, This offense, of course, isn't very good, but they did end up scoring 9 runs against the Yankees yesterday. I don't know if that wakes them up, but when you face Peterson up next, maybe you can scrape a couple by.
Yep. Okay. Talk me into it. I don't like laying that big price, but I got to fade Peterson here.
I agree.
All right, and I know we've got a late game on the card that it's the Dodgers and the Miami Marlins. Got a game that you normally, you wouldn't really put that in the category of must see, but we've got an interesting pitching matchup, Scott. We have not one but two pretty good lefties going at it. One's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. One probably won't, but right now he's a very fine pitcher, and that's Sandy Alcantara going against Clayton Kershaw for the Trolley Dodgers. And
Alcantara is a righty, by the way.
What's that?
Alcantara is a righty.
You know what? He's one of those guys that I always have in my head. He's a lefty, but you're absolutely right. He is a right-hander. Obviously, Dodgers big favorites here, Scott. Minus 200.
The Dodgers are big favorites at home. Who would have thought?
I know it's a shocking development with Kershaw at home. The Dodgers laying 200. Stop me if you've heard this before. For me, I'm not afraid of this Dodgers team right now, Scott. I'm just not. I know they have played a little better lately, but this is a team that's just 3 games over 500 right now.
I can't tell if they've played better lately or Seattle is just actually awful.
Well, that's a great question. It's when you're winning against Seattle, you do have to ask yourself if you're really back. Again, this is a Miami team that's like sneaky good. They're just kind of hanging out. They're 4 games under 500, or three games under 500 now. But
I like the under. That's 7. But I don't know how I look at these pitchers and say I don't think you're gonna at least hold your end of the bargain.
Give me first 5 under 3.5.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with the Dodgers bullpen, so I agree with you. But Alcantara is good and Kershaw is good, and the Dodgers' offense has not been great this season, especially since Bellinger went in the IL. And Miami's offense is never good, so I think you'll see a low-scoring game. I like the first 5 under also.
I'll take a little sniff on the Dolphins on the Marlins there at 170, 175, something like that.
Yeah, if you think it's going to be a low-scoring game, it makes sense to take a shot with the dog there, especially with the Dodgers bullpen involved. But
yep,
I like both starters, so I'm going to go with the under.
Okay, that's solid logic right there, boy. It really is. Kershaw has been decent over his last 2 of his last 3. Really struggled against the Cubs. That's the one where he just made it through the first inning. But he's had shutouts in his other 2 against Cincinnati and the Angels. So we'll see. Maybe he's back, Scott.
Maybe.
Kershaw. They always panic if he gives up more than 1 run. It's like, oh my God, Kershaw's done.
Mm-hmm.
So all right. Anything else you like?
Yes. There's one game that I thought about maybe doing as a play of the day, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I do really like Cleveland tomorrow, though. Bit of a huge line difference here. DraftKings has Cleveland money line at minus 129. FanDuel has it at minus 118. You have Savale on the mound. He's 5-0, 2.91 ERA against Flexen, who has been surprisingly decent. 3-1, 3.78 ERA, but Seattle is another one of those teams where it's not exactly the Royals level of collapse, but they were really good to start the year, and now they've lost 5 in a row, with 4 of those losses coming by at least 2 runs. This team is just bad. Cleveland's the better team. Cleveland has the better pitcher, and I think the offenses are kind of a push, but you're giving me 118 with a 5-0 pitcher against a team that's lost 5 in a row. I got to take Cleveland.
Tell you a story about Chris Flexen, Scott.
Okay.
Chris Flexen, before today, was the most profitable ROI pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
He's in his 6 games. He is plus 590. In other words, if you just bet $100, regardless of the money line, every time Flexen pitched, you would have been up 590. Now, Jack Flaherty, with his game today, he's at plus 704 in 8 games. So Chris Flexen has been undervalued all season long. Now, another piece of news, Aaron Savale, plus 463, Scott, and that puts him in 7th place. So he is also a very, very profitable pitcher. I think this is probably a good price. I like the way this Cleveland team is playing right now, but you can't totally disregard Flexen.
I'm not disregarding him. I'm just looking at the line saying you're only going to give Seattle about plus 100 when they've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, and
That doesn't sound right.
now this is a they could be a little bit of a hangover, Scott, because this is the game they played last night. Really kind of stung as they loaded the bases there in the ninth inning and had the tying run in scoring position, couldn't get it home. So
after being no hit for the first 8 innings.
Yeah, they
But
finally rallied there.
Cleveland's won 4 in a row. Seattle's lost 5 in a row. I just don't know how you can look at this line and not expect Cleveland money to come in.
Yeah, Cleveland is actually starting to pitch really well. The offense is still struggling, but the pitching has been really good over the past week or so.
Mm-hmm.
And you expect Savali to carry that on as well. He's kind of the forgotten man there in the Cleveland rotation, but 2.91 ERA, 103 WHIP. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a decent price to pay, but you know what? Don't be surprised if Chris Flexen and the Seattle Mariners win that game for no apparent reason.
I see minus 118. I think it should be at least minus 130.
Yeah, fair enough. That's not a bad assessment.
You have any games you want to talk about?
Nah, I don't.
We have a potential over there with Oakland and Minnesota. You got Montes against Shoemaker. I know both of us love Matt Shoemaker.
Not good. He is not
about
good.
8.5. I don't know how much stock I can put into Minnesota's recent struggles, especially for the last week. As a whole, the team hasn't been good at all this year. But when you're facing off against Chicago for the last couple of games, and Chicago is one of the hottest teams in the league, am I really going to roast it for getting swept by Chicago? Not really. But Shoemaker hasn't been good. Montes hasn't been very good. Both these teams offensively have not been too good lately, but we saw it earlier yesterday. I know you had a play on it with Stripling, and I forgot who was the other pitcher in that game.
It was a Stripling and
Smiley.
Who the hell was pitching for Atlanta?
Was it Smiley or no?
No, wasn't Smiley, but it was definitely somebody. It was definitely somebody that I didn't like.
It was Charlie Morton.
Yep, Charlie Morton. Exactly right.
Point is, though, is that both teams leading up to that game were struggling offensively too. But eventually, you run into some underwhelming starting pitchers against each other.
Yep.
Both teams suddenly remember how to hit. I just see runs here, and at 8.5, you also get the extra inning draw there. I think 8.5 is too low.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Yeah. And we had that come into play in the Toronto game where I capped it last night at 9. It actually went down to 8.5, and that's what I had it at personally. So they tied the game. It was a 4-4 tie, and that's such a good feeling. You're like, well, that's a win, and then it was a big win. So Montes, you know what? He's
very inconsistent.
He's one of these guys that is going to probably give about 4 runs. He's had quality starts in 2 of his last 3 starts. He just went 5 1/3 last time, but he just gave up 2 earned. So, he's not dreadful, kind of like this Oakland team. They just don't really do much for me. Now, Shoemaker, he shut down the Tigers. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He gave up 8 to the Royals. He gave up 5 to Oakland. We've seen this movie before. The Oakland A's show they could score as they put up 7 runs total in that game. I'll play the over there with you.
All
right, very good. Well, guys, as always, if you're looking for more information on these games or any other games, please stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives, previews, and predictions into every game every single day. Is quite a resource, and it is always 100% free, so make sure you stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. We wish you guys nothing but the best. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us at Winners and Whiners, appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.